Whoa. So St. George wasn't English.
It's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome back to my channel. It's your boy again, Shae, the one and the only. So a lot of people say the British have got no culture. And funny enough, a lot of people actually tend to believe that. Alright, but the truth is, the British culture is kind of being suppressed. When I say British, I'm talking about the Scottish, the Welsh, Northern Ireland, and also the English culture. So if you're truth seekers like me, today we're going to talk about a day that is important in English culture, or let's say that used to be very important in English culture, which is happening tomorrow, the 23rd of April, 11 a.m. at Waterloo. And I believe everybody marches to Whitehall at 3 p.m. to continue the celebrations. But first of all, important questions. What is St. George's Day? Or as it's also known, St. George's Feast Day. St. George's Day is England's national day, marked with a lot of festivities, dancing, music, celebration, foods and all whatnot. And that leads us to another question. Why did England pick St. George to be their patron? Now, St. George, if you know a bit of history, St. George himself is the personification of Christian chivalry. As we know, England is a Christian country. Okay, today we're going to talk about the 9 facts about St. George that you do not know. Okay, the number 1 fact is very interesting. I found this so interesting and I was like, whoa. So St. George wasn't English. St. George might be hailed as a national hero, but he was actually born in the 3rd century AD, more than 2,000 miles away in Cappadocia, modern day Turkey. So you could say he was Turkish. He is thought to have died in Lida, which is in modern day Israel, in the Roman province of Palestine in AD 303. I can see that the United Kingdom has got a serious link with Palestine. It is believed that his tomb was in Lourdes and was a center of Christian pilgrimage. When I found out that St. George wasn't English, I was very surprised. Yeah, I was a bit perplexed, to say the least. Point number 2, St. George wasn't a knight. Although George is often depicted in popular culture as a knight in shining armor, the truth is less fanciful. While St. George was depicted from the 11th century as a chivalric knight or a warrior on horseback, it is more likely that he was an officer in the Roman army. Very interesting fact. Fact number 3. St. George was a martyr. Like many saints, St. George was described as a martyr after he died for his Christian faith. It is believed that during the persecutions of the Emperor Diocletian in the early 4th century, St. George was executed for refusing to make a sacrifice in honor of the pagan gods. So he was Christian through and through, to the core of being a Christian. Fact number 4. He never visited England. So the question will arise, then why did England choose him? Well, we answered already. Because he's the personification of Christian chivalry. Although St. George never visited England, his reputation for virtue and holiness spread across Europe, and his feast day, the 23rd of April, was celebrated in England from the 9th century onwards. He became popular with English kings. Edward I from 1272 to 1307 had banners bearing the emblem of St. George, a red cross on a white background, and Edward III, 1327 to 77, had a strong interest in the saint and owned a relic of his blood. The St. George cross was not used to represent England until the reign of Henry VIII. Now, let's talk about the dragon. Alright, so my lovely Welsh people, obviously dragons are not real, and St. George did not slay a real dragon. It's all just symbolic. The dragon was added later. The story goes that St. George rode into Selene, modern day Libya, to free the city from a dragon who had a taste for humans. Interesting story. But it's a story which postdates the real George by several centuries. Images of George and the dragon survive from the 9th century to 500 years after his death. Originally, these may simply have been representations of the battle between good and evil. So I said symbolic. But the story was developed and popularized in the Middle Ages in a compendium of stories about saints' lives, the Golden Legend. Okay, now we go over to point number 6. St. George was a saint for 1,000 years before the holiday. St. George was canonized in AD 494 by Pope Gelasius, who claimed he was one of those whose names are justly revered among men, but whose acts are known only to God. A feast of St. George has been celebrated in England for hundreds of years on 23rd of April, which was possibly the date of his martyrdom. Following the Battle of Agincourt in the year 1415, St. George's Day became one of the most important feast days in the English calendar. I find these facts very interesting. For those of you that know me, you know I love learning about cultures of different countries. I've checked out many other countries, and now we finally come back home to England. Fact number 7. England isn't the only country to celebrate St. George. St. George is truly an international saint, and England is not the only country or region to claim him as its patron. England shares St. George with Venice, Genoa, Portugal, Ethiopia, and Catalonia, among others, as their patron saint, and many of these places have their own celebrations and ceremonies in his honor. It all boils down to what he represents. Okay, point number 8. I find this point very interesting. This one touched me. People turned to St. George for protection. During the Middle Ages, people believed that St. George was one of the 14 holy helpers, a group of saints who could help during epidemic diseases. St. George's protection was invoked against several nasty diseases, many fatal and with infectious causes, including the plague and leprosy. From around 1100, St. George's help was also sought to protect the English army. In Shakespeare's Henry V, the eponymous hero calls on the saint during his battle cry at the Battle of Harfleur, I hope that's right, in the famous "Once more unto the breach, dear friends," speech crying God for Harry, England and St. George. 500 years later, during the First World War, a ghostly apparition of St. George is said to have aided British troops during their retreat from Mons, and the naval commander of the Zeebrugge raid cited the saint as inspiration. I mean, very interesting facts. These are more reasons why this day should be reinstated and also made a bank holiday, I believe. Then point number 9, the last but not the least, St. George represents those we honor. The Order of the Garter, founded by Edward III in 1348, is the highest order of chivalry in the country. To this day, St. George's Cross still appears on the Garter badge, and its image is a pendant of the Garter chain. In 1940, King George VI created a new award for acts of the greatest heroism or courage in circumstance of extreme danger. The George Cross, named after the king, bears the image of St. George vanquishing the dragon. The image of St. George also adorns many of the memorials built to honor those killed during World War I. So for those of you that do not know much about St. George, these are just 9 facts about him and the significance of the St. George's Day, or the Feast of St. George. For those of you that follow me, you know that I believe in learning the cultures of the countries we visit or the countries we choose to immigrate to, because we need to learn their ways, know what they're into, alright, become part of them. Yes, you can still keep your identity. We can still keep our original identity if we want, if we so choose. But it's important to learn about the land where we are, learn their ways, know what they're about, know what makes them tick, which will help us assimilate into the culture, which will help us integrate and also contribute our own culture. We can also introduce our own ways of life, right, and make the whole lot better than it was, rather than changing the whole lot. So for those of you like me that are truth seekers, like I said earlier, interested in British culture, for those of you that are Anglophiles, or however it's pronounced, tomorrow is the day. All right, make sure you go to Waterloo at 11 a.m. If you can make it, well, you can make it at 3 p.m. at Whitehall. Join, see how the English do their thing, watch how they celebrate. You can be a part of it. Even though to be a part of it, you can just be an onlooker, but it's important, just see how they do their things. All right, let's show some support to this country that's taken us in, this country that's opened their doors to immigration and allowed us to come in. I know a lot of people say, yes, the English past has been really, really dark. Now, not the British. The English past has been really dark with the colonization. People say they plundered, slavery, which I must say, it is true. It is very true. But that is in distant past, all right? And I believe the British, even though those that committed the atrocities are long gone, but I believe the present generation shouldn't be demonized for what their ancestors did. For those people that live in this country, you find out that there's something called the benefit system that's used to help people that are less privileged. And if you notice, quite a lot of foreigners claim these benefits. They get free houses, free places to stay, which I think is a good thing the government is doing. Also, we have asylum seekers coming in, which I believe is the good thing the government is doing. Still, I wouldn't say it justifies the evils of the past. It doesn't justify any evil of the past. But this is about moving forward to a brighter future. So tomorrow, guys, let's forget about differences. Okay, let's come together. All right, celebrate the culture of this host nation. Let's bring our diversity and inclusion. Let's all come together for once. Just celebrate what this country has got to offer. Let's learn their culture. See what they got. Let's try their food. I know English food can be quite plain. Bring your spices. Bring your sauces. Bring whatever you want to bring. Bring it in. All right. Tomorrow, let's partake and show the English that look, we know what you've done. We understand the past, but the past is past. Let's surge on to a brighter future. We love you, brothers. Onward, Christian soldier. I mean, even if you're not Christian, come on. Onward, we march together. Love. All right, peace out, guys.
Oh, I love you more than words can say. You are me. Oh, you are the light that shine in my way. You are me. Oh, I love you more than words can say. You are me. Oh, you are the light that shine in my way.